I'll show you how to fix a train engine that doesn't work. First, I'll show you a quick test to make sure they're not working or working. If you turn the train upside down and you take a 9-volt and you touch the wheels, it'll run. The front wheels, not the back wheels, because that's where the motor is. Here we can verify that this one is bad. When we touch the front wheels, there's nothing. To open up a train, turn it upside down and kind of take your fingers and pry open like this and lift it out. Then the top will snap off. Immediately when we open it up, you can see one of the wires is disconnected. We'll solder this back together and then we'll clean everything up. We'll clean up the end and strip a little bit of the insulation off. To make sure it's a strong solder bond, go ahead and tin the wires. We can solder the wire back into place. Make sure everything's nice and clean and strong. We'll take our 9-volt, touch the wheels, and you can see now it runs. Now we'll touch the battery again and check out the light bulb, make sure that it's lighting up. We'll unscrew the light bulb. We'll clean up the connections. We'll clean out some of the corrosion inside the socket. There we go. Just cleaning up the connection makes the light turn on a lot better. Now we'll pull everything apart and do some basic maintenance. We'll put a little dab of oil on each screw to help it come out a little easier. Once the screws are out, we can remove the bottom of the truck. You can feel that there's no lubrication in here. Pull the wheels out. Notice these little brass whiskers that make contact with the wheels. That whisker drags right inside the wheel and gets its electricity from the outside of the wheel from the track. Clean up the wheels with something like Scotch-Brite. Just make sure it's nice and clean. You can see the one that I've cleaned and the one I haven't cleaned. You can imagine that this is going to make a big improvement in performance when it's on the track. Make sure you clean inside the wheel where that whisker touches. When the trucks or the wheels are completely assembled, you can see that whisker down in here that rubs on the back of the wheel. We're going to want to make sure that this side of the whisker is very clean. I'll take a screwdriver and some 400 grit sandpaper and roll it around the screwdriver. I'll take the sandpaper and I'll put it on the whisker and I'll just scrub it until it shines. It's tough to see the whisker in there, but it's nice and clean. We'll knock the corrosion off of all these. To make sure we get all the debris out of there, spray it out with rubbing alcohol. Spray down the wheels as well. Make sure all that old lubrication is off. Now because this is plastic, I don't want to use just any old lubricant. I want to use something like a silicone-based grease. I'll explain why I just don't use any kind of oil. A lot of oils are petroleum-based, and the plastic in here is made with petroleum. So if you use this type of an oil, it'll break down the plastic. Silicone grease is going to be safe on plastic. That's why I use silicone grease on any type of plastic. Where the axles go, we're going to want to take some of the silicone grease and place it in there so the axles aren't under any friction. Silicone grease is also non-conductive. We'll set the wheel in place and then we've got to make sure that the whiskers go on the inside of the wheel. You might need something thin to hold that whisker into place and then put the wheels in. Put the wheel in from the middle and then you may have to push the whisker out of the way and put it into place. It may take a little bit of patience to get that whisker behind in there, but you can see these wheels move a lot better. Now this piece of metal's got some surface rust on it. You can take and just work in a little bit of something like motor oil into it. Place the bottom of the truck back into place and put your screws back in. If you do need more work working on the truck, you can turn the wheel completely like this and pull it out like this. Note that when you're putting this back on, there's two different types of screws. This one screws into the plastic, and this one has a nut on the other end. Before you reassemble the nut and bolt, there's a washer right here. This little washer or spacer goes in before the truck cover goes on. Make sure the hitch connector's in place. Put the spacer on first, then put the bottom of the truck on. The screw that threads into the plastic, put on the other side. Thread the screw into the plastic and kind of snug it up. Turn the truck to the side, line up the pins, and then turn. Now the part of the trucks that pulls the energy from the track are nice and clean. We've got the light bulb all cleaned up. Now we can do a little cleaning on the motor. Here you can see the brushes, the commutator, Spin the motor until you can see a little groove in the commutator. Take a little bit of a needle and just scrape out any debris. Then go to the next line. Clean out any debris. I'll spray everything down really good with rubbing alcohol. Get all that junk out of there. While the alcohol is evaporating, go ahead and spin it and clean the commutator off really good. Pull the screws off the truck. Under this one, we're going to have a lot more gears. Off the motor, we have a worm gear. That's the white one. And then all the gears that transfer all the power to the wheels. Remove the gears, but remember where they all go. I just line them up in order. Spray rubbing alcohol to clean out all the old grease. On this side where the motor is, it's more important to get the gears clean than the wheels clean. Of course, it's no harm in cleaning up the wheels. Check at the base of the wheels, just make sure there's no debris in there and just pull it all out. Make sure it's clean. You can see with all this cleaner, this is going to run a lot better. Make sure all the lubricant is off of these gears. Sometimes it's nice to do preventative maintenance rather than wait until these things don't run very well. To clean out all these little grooves, a toothbrush does a really nice job. We'll add in our silicone grease. Anywhere it moves, we want to get this grease in there. With everything cleaned and greased, go ahead and put everything back together. I'll put a little extra grease here on the worm gear. Put the bottom of the truck on the exact same way that we did the other one. To verify everything is moving real nice, just touch it with the battery. You can see it is so much easier to get this thing to run. We're ready to snap the top on. Line up these little tabs right in here. Just push it together. Of course, now that it works perfectly, we'll need to remove this. That's how you fix and clean and maintain an engine for your toy train.